And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be normal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, Atlantis.
Water towers fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off. It's orange!
125! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
What is it?
Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
The methane will be igniting the flare, correct?
Yikes. You good? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Welcome to another episode of NASA Spaceflight watches a steel tank in Texas and hope it moves. I kid, but we did have a nice long stream today while we waited for ship 28 to get stacked, and looks like now it's finally about to happen, so we are back live. The chopsticks are taking the weight of the ship, the stabilizers are in, the pad looks to be clear, all the pieces are in place to get this vehicle stacked for the first time. It's the first time Booster 10 and Ship 28 will be meeting, so this is quite a momentous occasion ahead of Flight 3. Oh, and Alex, thank you in chat, also telling me that the QD arm is retracted as well. So, with all of that said, let's get into it. I'm Jack Beyer for NASA Spaceflight. I'll be your host for tonight's lift. And, as always, I am joined by our cantankerous cohort of co-hosts. I'm going to go with cantankerous this time instead of competent. Starting off with Trevor Sesnick. How are you doing, Trevor?
Yeah, it's nice that after waiting literally all day for this ship to lift, we're finally nearing that action. So excited to see the full stack.
Watch, because we're being so certain about it now, it's just not going to happen. So it's always possible. It's always possible it could not happen, but it certainly looks like it's about to. Also joining us on the stream is Mr. Ryan Weber. Ryan, thank you for joining us on this one too.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Jack. It's been waiting around with you guys all day. You know, it's finally nice to see this thing getting going. It's been a long day, that's for sure.
Indeed it has, and hopefully the day can wrap up with this ship stacked atop the booster. Also on the stream for a quick little blurb is NASA Spaceflight Actual, Mr. Chris Bergen. Chris, what's up?
I'm sleeping. What's that? I know, I'm joking. Yeah, so we've been waiting for this stack all day. The plan was, as all great plans tend to be, is, oh, okay, they'll be lifting it onto the top of the booster and we'll have a full stack during the day. We thought, that'd be a good opportunity to launch the IFT3 merch, wouldn't it? And then it went on and on and on, and all the store folk went to sleep. And then suddenly I start seeing, oh, they might still do it at like midnight local time-ish. And I was like, oh, well, we can't. Oh, what do we do? What do we do? So I made the call. So you can all boo me. I made the call saying, look, let's not release this without store folk around because we want to make sure everyone's looked after as far as buying stuff from our store. Our store's amazing, by the way. I love it. I've spent enough money in there myself because it's cool. We don't want to launch a product and then have no store support around for people who may need it. So I thought, right, we'll hold back for a bit. It'll be literally like a day or so, if that. Follow me. I pinned it into the top of the chat to follow the official account, which is me, basically. And I will make sure that I say it in advance, so no one's going to be like, I missed the launch, even though it makes no difference, because it's not like for one day only or anything like that. But I will make sure you're all informed. But that's the reason why we held back, because it's just, we didn't expect it to be this time, and I don't want to launch something in the store without the correct support around it, the support mechanism, which is people who are sleeping right now.
Cool. Thank you, Chris. Are you going to hang out, or do we lose you now?
No, I'm going to hang out now. I'm excited. I want to see this thing lit. Well, actually, I'm going to hang out because I'm going to do the X post, the tweet, when the
Nice.
thing starts moving up. So I'm going to hang
It
around.
is.
Yeah, I'll
It's
stay away.
moving up right now. Ryan in our
off.
back channel saying it's off the stand now, right, Ryan?
Yeah,
Woo.
yeah, it's off the stand.
Excellent. Excellent. Hopefully it continues to rise into the air. Question mark? If you guys have any questions, speaking of, ask them in chat at NASA Spaceflight, and we'll see your question pop up in some software that we have running. But I mean, Chris, like speaking of making the call, I could make the call. I could call 8. I don't know if he knows that I have his phone number, but I could literally call him right now.
Yes, we could do that, but then that wouldn't still really be. That would be a grumpy Adrian for a start. The second thing being that it's not just the first few seconds of launching something. We want people around during like the hours we
And
launch something.
Up it goes.
For sure. I kid.
Go on.
Kid.
It's going up, guys.
Yeah, going up pretty quickly now.
Yeah.
Excellent. She's rising.
Right,
That's
hang on,
exactly what we want to see.
I'm
So,
gonna get Bandicam out. Hang on.
get Bandicam going. Make sure you don't have any like notifications popping up or any
That's right.
screen.
Yeah, it records everything.
Oh man, you poor guy. Why won't you let me teach you Premiere?
I will do one day.
You say that.
Begrudgingly, yes, but I've got a horrible feeling. I've just seen screenshots of what it looks like, and it looks very complicated.
It's your friend. Anyway, speaking of friends, Ship 28 is about to be even better friends with Booster 10 as it gets lifted into the air. This is delightful. This is what we were waiting all day for. Hooray! So, what do we think is going to happen after this stack? What is this stack in advance of? Are we expecting more testing, or what's going on? Chris, if you're not too busy bandicamming, I'll let you answer that one.
No, I'm going to do one when it's a bit more obvious in the motion, so I'm okay just yet. I don't want to record my own voice either of us, so I won't record until I stop talking. I think... Oh, hang on a minute, Jack. Pass it on to someone else. I want to bandicam this.
This is gorgeous. Ryan, what do we expect to happen next after this stack? What's going on here as we lead up to IFD3?
Well, I think we're expecting some kind of prop load testing, possibly a wet dress rehearsal coming up. We do have 3 road closures up starting Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Your standard 12-hour road closures, full road closures, beach closure, all that fun jazz. And we're expecting, they're just expecting some full stack testing. After that, we don't really know. They could destack and maybe do a static fire in 28 if it needs it again, because of all the engine shenanigans that they were doing. But we don't really know when the launch is. It could be like 3 or 4 weeks away. We'd have to watch out and wait here.
We will have to wait and see. But
Yep, I will now talk my part of it. I think I'm just going to agree with Ryan mainly. A lot of people are going to get very excited. They're going to go full stack, okay, wet dress rehearsal, okay, wait for the FAA. It's not going to be that fast. The good news is a lot of things have happened at the tank farm and on the launch site. They're going to get a lot of good testing data out of this and then be ready to go once the FAA says yes. I still agree with Ryan. About 3 or 4 weeks, maybe. Might be less. You never know. But I'm thinking around that time scale, and then we may get that glorious note from the FAA saying they're not just approving this next flight, but several. And then we can look forward to the cadence increasing.
I'm so looking forward to that. Trevor, are you looking forward to an increased cadence with Starship?
How could I not? I want to have my turnaround times for Starship on my spreadsheets be in weeks as opposed to in months like it is right now.
Yeah, I'm eagerly awaiting the day, especially because as they ramp up their cadence, I think we'll eventually get the first night launch, and that is going to be really exceptionally beautiful. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, seeing that plume that's, like twice as tall as the vehicle, so probably a good 250 meters or so at certain points at night is just going to be incredible.
Right.
More launches, more better.
Yep.
Wait, you're not even supposed to be here, Alex. Also, don't steal my
Party.
bit.
It's a party in here. Let's go.
Revhead, thank you for gifting a Red Team membership. We could not do all of this without y'all's support, especially like the late night streams, the 24/7 live streams, everyone's time, everyone's energy, all the equipment, all the data that the robots chug.
The marathon streams.
Yeah, it's nuts. So thank you so much. RC Horseman gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Eric Frazier gifting a Red Team membership. Coco Cats becoming a Pad Rat member. And Blushy Boy gifting a Red Team membership. Thank you all so much. Also, Rusty Android says, Mechazilla, do you even lift, bro? Oh, it lifts. It's going fast. We're going to have to figure out timing of this once it's all said and done, if this is the fastest lift yet, because it certainly seems to be moving
Jack,
quickly.
Don't say it's going quickly, please, when we've been waiting all day.
This is going great. Nothing could go wrong. Everything is perfect. Hooray.
One of the sayings, one of my coworkers working on planes, by the way, he just loves the saying of what could possibly go wrong. You know,
I don't like the idea that somebody that works with planes is asking that, even jokingly. Ethereal Swordsman, thank you for the support. They say, uh-oh, I think something's wrong with the ground umbilical carrier plate. Chris, a rebuttal.
Oh, my word. Right, well, first of all, that always sends a shiver down anyone who's followed the Space Shuttle program, because that was a very leaky part that attached to the external tank and caused quite a few delays during the final missions of the Space Shuttle program. As far as Starship goes, they've had not the same kind of problems. The ship quick disconnect arm is not the same as the GUP on the Space Shuttle program external tank. But it's something we've been watching very carefully. I want to see how much scaffolding's still on that thing. I didn't take too much notice earlier in the day. I should have, actually. But it'd be interesting to see how much scaffolding is still on that, because that has to come off before launch, obviously.
We often joke about getting like a crane operator or something on stream so that we can like talk crane nuts and bolts and whatnot. I would like somebody who works like designing scaffolding and all that. It's such an underappreciated thing, but then you look and there's like hundreds of pounds of scaffolding supporting hundreds of pounds of squishy humans, hundreds of feet in the air. It's like I do not want that to be my job, but I'm super fascinated how all that works, especially just because it's like construction erector set. It's like, what do you need to be built? Well, we can make that out of scaffolding. Bam! Like it's, I don't know. I can nerd out on some scaffolding. Wow, it's really cooking. It's already into the spotlights.
It's about halfway out.
I can already tell you the fastest stack so far was the number 7 stack for Booster 9 Ship 25. That was right after they did the FTS. That stack was 33 minutes. So this has to beat that if it wants for fastest. So,
what an epic sight. The fog tonight and the spotlights, like what more do you want? This is gorgeous.
I always love the spotlights. It gives that Apollo vibe.
Right,
you know?
they're relatively new. They have not always had them, and I'm a big fan. Like you said, it's very Apollo vibes. It makes it feel more like cinematic, or like we're watching a weird future version of the right stuff.
Yeah. Oh, can we see serial numbers? I want to see serial numbers.
We're looking. It would definitely be nice to see those serial numbers, given that we had some engine swaps on, or I shouldn't say swaps, because we don't actually know. Yeah, we had some engine activity where they pulled out an RVAC and an R center, and question mark, like might have put them back in, might have put new ones in. We just don't know. But Chris, what do you think? Like, what's your take, Chris? What was going on there? Either just like pop off an engine and give it a once over and put it back on, or?
Well, I'll put it this way. The first reply I had to the clip of noting lift had started was, but what about the static fire? Shouting at me almost. Like, well, it's not for me to say. I'm not the one making decisions. Please don't shout at me. It's all caps. It's a reply to the tweet. I would be interested to see if they took the same engine out and put the same engine back in again, and if that precludes the need to do a static fire. If they do need to do static fire, or if they replace the engine and then do need to do static fire, there's every potential they'll destack this again at some point after wet dress rehearsal, and then they'll do the static fire test, and then they'll restack, and that will still be well within the time frame of the expected FAA approval, which we know because Adrian asked the FAA last week, and the FAA said they're still waiting for some information from SpaceX. So it's not going to be anytime soon, It might be a week, 2 weeks away, around that time scale. Plenty of time to complete all those processes.
Yeah, one thing that I want to point out in this shot that we see right now is there's no ring stiffeners on any of the RVAC engines, which is a good indication that they're not going to conduct another static fire. And right, what they do when they want to static fire the RVAC engines at sea level is they put a ring stiffener on so that the engine doesn't start vibrating due to the instability since the nozzle is so wide.
Interesting.
Yeah, super good shout there from Zach Roll in chat, and thank
Are
you,
we
Trevor,
able
for catching that.
We able to zoom in anymore, Jay? Anymore? I
This
see the
is
numbers.
is there? Do we make anything of two of the bells being white and one being not
160.
white for the RVACs? I mean, I think we've seen differences. We've seen some white and some not white in the past, right? This is not indicative of anything.
No. Well, if they were swapped out engines, those could be newer ones. Could be. The problem is, I don't think we're going to see the RVAC numbers.
They're so hard to see. They're so tucked away in there.
Yeah, we can see one of the numbers. I'm trying to make it out. It's 1 something, I think 5 or 6. It's hard to tell, though.
Neat. Chris W. gifting a Red Team membership. Thank you, Chris. Ninja Decimator gifting 1 Red Team membership. Thank you, Ninja Decimator. Or I should say, thank you, Ninja Decimator. Daniel Hogbin, thanks for gifting 5. You're the best. And Christopher Hella, thank you for the support. They say, I can't believe it. Another breakfast in Norway with NSF. NSF. And the perfect morning radio hosts. Oh, you're sweet. Thank you. In fact, Hybrid Proton in chat said, just got a member. Epic. Nice. See, that's what happens when you gift membership. You make people happy.
So if Jay goes from this, by the way, if Jay goes from this view and then back to the enhanced view again, that'll make a very nice clip. Thank you.
So one thing I will say is with the no stiffener rings on the RVACs, that means that they will, unless they add those back on, which they could, they will not static fire those RVACs.
Yeah, so the ship is not currently in a configuration to static fire. It is fair to say.
At least the RVACs.
Yeah, at least
right?
the RVACs.
They could still do the sea levels.
Still do the centers, yeah.
Neat. Justin S. is asking. Well, first off, before we do more questions, we're going to see them get to the top of the lift here. Looks like they just did. And we'll see them pause, potentially, for a little bit before they swing over. And you can see, look at that! The ship QD arms coming in.
Yeah, the QD arm should come in, stop where the QD will line up, and then they'll translate the ship over and then lower it down.
I'm sorry, chat mods, but y'all, if you remember and you have access to the members emoji, put 6 RVACs in chat right now, since we're looking at 6, or not 6 Raptors in chat right now. Do it. I want to see chat.
I already told Gary about the Gage about the Gary emojis. If you do too many, Nightbot will time you out, and then if you time you out too many times, you might find it shadow bans you. So be careful.
Yeah, don't do it too many times. Just do it once each. Everyone gets 1.
Yeah.
Awesome. What a sight to see. This massive vehicle just lifted up by the tower as if it was nothing.
All right. Well, they started lifting this thing off the stand around 11:44 p.m. So they're about 17 minutes in. See if they can match or beat their fastest, or get close to it even.
Nice. Good deal. And I see loads of Raptors in chat. Thank you, everybody. See? Perks of being a member. Spam chat with... Oh, I see Nightbot's timing people out, though. Okay, maybe no more Raptors.
Told you.
Chris is smart. Listen to Chris.
But that's the first time anyone said that about me.
John Cook's asking, is there a payload for this test flight? Trevor, is there a payload on there as far as we know?
Nope. Just a bunch of air in the payload fairing. And then I guess you could technically make an argument that there's a payload of propellant since they're going to be doing the propellant transfer test, but I don't really think that counts.
Yeah, I would say not. Yeah. John Cook is asking, is there an update on the Flight 3 license? Ryan, you want to take that one?
Yeah. So, it was the email that we got that Adrian got. Currently, SpaceX and the FAA are working on the submitted. So the investigation has been partially completed, is kind of the way to put it. And currently, SpaceX and the FAA are working together to make sure the mitigations or whatever changes have to be made to the vehicles are made, or even ground systems. So, like, the investigation is not closed, and it's not closed yet, but a report has been submitted to the FAA. The SpaceX has also put in a request for the modified license, but that won't happen until the investigation is closed and signed off by the FAA. So that's where we're at right now.
Good deal. Thank you for that, Ryan. We are getting closer and closer to Flight 3, but there's still a lot of milestones in the way. Potentially a wet dress rehearsal. Obviously, they have to destack and do FTS work and then restack it. Although that's relatively minor, especially given how fast we saw all that happen for Flight 2. But yeah, we're getting closer, and this is a really good sign that Flight 3 is weeks, not months away, I think is a good way to put it.
So we have a fun little tidbit of history here for the Starship program for tonight.
I like fun little tidbits of history for the Starship program tonight.
2 years ago tonight, the Booster 4 and Ship 20 were stacked together for the first time using the chopsticks. 2 years ago tonight.
I think. Oh man, I think that might have been a stream I was on with Chris G, and we were both in Texas together, and we were like just giggling maniacally. We were so excited to see the chopsticks in action. I distinctly remember that. That's hilarious.
That was
2 years ago.
a few days before, the day before the last Starship presentation, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that would have
the
been
11th.
Yeah.
That would have been why Chris was there. Yeah, that makes sense. Neat. Rusty Android is asking, do you think we'll see larger Starlink satellites launch on the last of the Starship version 1s when the V2s start rolling out, or later? That's an interesting question, because it's kind of up in the air, much like Ship 28 right now. Haha, Sawyer. I hope I made you proud. It's kind of up in the air right now what will happen. And look, it's rotating into place. Excellent. Or is it lifting? I can't tell. It's lifting. Huh.
It's rotating and lifting, I think.
Always keeping us on our toes.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the past we've seen SpaceX skip batches of serial numbers. So depending on how this launch goes, if it goes really well, maybe they fly them out and end up putting payload on some of the version 1s. If it goes really bad, maybe they're like, oh, we're going to go straight to version 2. Or maybe it goes really well and they're like, all right, we got this. Let's go straight to version. Like, it's hard to say. But Chris, what do you think? What do you think, Chris? Are they going to launch Starlinks on version 1, or are they going to wait all the way till version 2?
I'm more interested in if they're going to launch Starlinks full stop, because the payload-based door slot fits the renders they put out, the animation where it's pooping out lots of Starlinks. Apologies for the analogy, but that's what it looks like.
I mean, you could have said barfing. It's like more at the ship's head more than anything. But
That's
I mean,
true. Yeah.
You do you.
Yeah, but that I'd love to see that in action for a start. That's what it all looks like he's been set up for as an initial payload. And also, it's Starlink. It's SpaceX's own payload, so it's not like risking a customer's payload, which I don't think they ever do anyway. Right. And it's a lot more interesting than a ball of cheese. So I think. I don't know what. I mean, you yourself may have taken the pictures of what was a group of Starlinks inside that building, not far from where Mary is. I don't know if those Starlinks are still there anymore. I remember Ryan. Did you tell me they're not there anymore? Or
yeah, they're not there anymore.
Right.
They're
okay.
not there. I thought they still had some of the dummies in there, unless they got rid of them all.
As far as I know, well, to answer your question, Chris, yes, I have shot those. That's the kind of thing where whenever the Starlink building's door was open, it was like, oh man, like get a camera on that. So I have shot inside that building. There were Starlinks in there, and as far as I know, they cleared them all out, redid the interior of that building, like put a new crane in it and everything, and then repurposed it for some sort of machine shop type equipment. Like there was, you remember the box? Remember the super large box that got delivered? And I was like, I just shot 4K slow-mo of the box. Like that was full of some sort of like hot forming metal press or something like that. I am not a machinist. I have no idea, but that is what they ended up, plus a bunch more equipment, ended up moving in there after they cleared the Starlink building out. So maybe those satellites are still on site somewhere in Starbase, but not in that building anymore.
Regardless, I remember the mystery box. By the way, the mystery box was fun. I do think that SpaceX, at the very least, has considered that to be the first payload on Starship. That was definitely in the planning at some point. Whether it still is now, I don't know, but it just makes more sense. If they're going to launch a vehicle with a payload and they want to make use of the confidence they may gain from IFT-3, let's go with that, then it's got to be Starlink. What version of Starlink? I don't know. But nothing can make me go past Starlinks right now as the first payloads. I'm just convinced it must be that.
Oh, for sure. But will they launch them on version 1 of Starship? Like, I guess that's like the other kind of half of the question is, do you think they'll fly all of the version 1 Starships, or do you think they'll get to a point either after Flight 3 or a subsequent flight where they're like, right, we're good, let's move on to version 2?
Well, we've got some history on that, haven't we? I remember after the hops with Hopper, they went to SN5 and SN6. And after SN6, I'm sure they're going to plan more 150-meter hops, but they said, no, we're happy with this. It's gone very well. Let's move on to the high-altitude hops with the ship. Right. And then, after they finally landed one, they said, okay, let's go with booster. So you can imagine them saying, if they get a really good IFT-3 and maybe a really good IFT-4, they'll just say, okay, let's push it. Let's go to version 2.
Right. Yeah, I could see them doing that. I could also see them flying them. I mean, they have them built, but talk to Ship 16 and Ship 20 about that, I guess. Trevor, any thoughts before we move on? And it has stopped, by the way, which is a weird spot to stop it. But you know, it's fine. Everything's fine. I didn't jinx it earlier. Everything's fine. Go ahead, Trevor.
I see them probably launching Starlinks on V1 starships. Right. From all indications, it seems like V2 is, certainly an upgrade, but not like an enormous upgrade. So I don't see them wanting to skip all of the remaining Starship V1s, especially since what I think they have 3 or 4 more. So that's like a lot of data that they could get, and may as well try to get some data out of those if they're comfortable targeting a actual orbit by that point.
Right. And we're moving again. Hooray!
They have 5, including this vehicle. They have 5 V1s left.
Are you including Ship 26 in that?
No.
Good job. I'm proud of you.
It's 28, 29, 30, 31, 32.
That's so wild to me still, that they have such a glut of hardware, and it's like practically already all obsolete because they're moving so fast.
So one fun thing to add is, looks like I noticed, I think they added static wicks to the bottom of the flaps.
Oh, neat. Like they have on the wings of planes to prevent, what is that? What is it? There's a fancy name for it.
It's prevent buildup of static electricity. It's also a way for a lightning strike to find an exit, a better exit than the plane fuselage itself. But,
nice.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool.
Super cool.
You know?
Hey Jay, do you have a shot that shows 26 right now?
But why, Jack? But why?
Let me cook. Let me cook. All right, boo, 26, boo. All right, let's go back to the stack.
So Ryan, I'm actually curious, based on what you were saying, what causes, because it seems like to me, if a vehicle was to get struck by lightning, you would just want the charges to distribute evenly among its surface. So what is the alternative that is done on aircraft?
So, what I'll say, another use for static wicks is like when a plane is flying through the air, it'll build up a charge. The aluminum frame will build up a charge as it's flying through the air, especially weather. And eventually you want that discharge somewhere. You don't want that to be discharged, say, in your radome or in the fuselage itself. You want that to go out. What static wicks provide is they provide basically a grounding area for the charge to just kind of get discharged. So sometimes what can happen is you build up such a charge, or a lightning strike happens where the static wick will literally get blown off the flap or wing because so much charge was built up. So that's basically why they have them, and I'm not surprised that they would put them on Starship because it's stainless. And charge can build up even as it's entering through the atmosphere just in any way. I don't know how those would survive re-entry, but, you know, maybe they're just for launch right now.
Interesting.
Sure, yeah.
All right, ship is nearly over the top of the old booster there. Ryan, how are we doing on time?
Let's see here. I think we're at, what, 28 minutes? 28 minutes, I think it is. If I can count right now after this long. It started at 11:44 is when it started. I needed, yeah.
All right then. It's weird seeing the light wobble like that. I wonder if it's a little bit windy out there. Justin S is asking, do we know why the Raptor flame is more blue now? Will we see this on vehicles going forward? Trevor, we even got to ask Tom Mueller about that on a recent NASA Spaceflight Live. Would you like to recap?
So I'm actually a horrible person, and I was busy with homework that day, so I haven't gotten a chance to watch that episode
Trevor.
yet. I really need to.
All right, well, I'm taking it away from you. Alex, you're here. You're not supposed to be here, but you're here. Go ahead.
Well, we don't fully know what's the reason for the bluer flame, but I believe Tom Mueller basically postulated that it is probably that they have removed film cooling,
Right.
or maybe not completely, but more substantially than they had already. I remember Elon talking about how Raptor needed lots of film cooling because it was operating at extreme temperatures and pressures and things like that. But with a lot of testing and through a lot of improvements, eventually you can remove the film cooling if you're more comfortable with those temperatures because you've already done a lot of testing and gathered a lot of data. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's part of the upgrade path for future Raptors, where they're gonna burn without wasting a lot of fuel for film cooling. Film cooling, for those that may not know, I'm sure you all know probably because you're all nerds, but it just basically it's basically injecting a little bit of the fuel around the throat of the nozzle, so that eventually, or even inside of the combustion chamber, so that the combustion just is not as hot, and you create this sort of film outside of the main combustion, or of the main portion of the chemical reaction, and so you create that thin film cooling around the nozzle and the interior of the chamber. So you create that, but in the process you're also wasting a lot of fuel. So by removing that, you can basically not spend a lot of fuel, and then you create a more efficient engine. But also it creates a lot of unburned fuel that just burns in the atmosphere, and you can see that as orange. So it also tints the whole rocket exhaust, just becomes a little bit more orangey. So that's why we think, so that's why we think it is probably that, rather than mixture ratios, because mixture ratios, you're only just making the engine hotter. You're not really changing the ISP, the efficiency of the engine. And so by just removing the film cooling, or at least reducing it substantially, you get more efficiency that way, rather than just heating up your engine. That's what Tom said in way more smarter words, and because he's a pro and everything, but you get the point. Anyways, I'm out.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be here. Go away, Alex. But really, don't actually go away.
So the one thing that I'll add.
No, Trevor, you forfeited your rights to answer this question, having not watched NASA Spaceflight Live.
I know, it's actually ridiculous that I haven't watched that episode yet because I was so excited for it. But as Alex was alluding to, Elon, probably about 2 years ago when Raptor 2 first came out, they were kept melting through MCCs on the test stand. So at first, their whole goal was, we just need to get this thing firing. So they added a ton of film cooling. And then Elon said, as they understand the engine better, they can slowly start removing it. And I suspect that we're at the point now where it's worth it for them to start removing it.
Good deal. Somebody actually DM'd me on Twitter the other day saying I was being too mean to Trevor. Trevor, we're friends, right? We're bros. I'm not evil.
We are besties.
All right, cool. I'm glad we're on the same page. We can do a little bit of tribalism for fun sometimes, but we're all friends here. Donald Hanson, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Doug Ramsey, thank you for the support. They say, who thinks the stack looks even better with the hot staging ring than without it? I agree. I think it looks better with it. Chris, thoughts?
I tell you what, I really don't mind. I personally just happy that we've got 2 vehicles at the pad again. When you are on Starbase Live every single day, like a lot of us in chat right now are, but especially me, it can get a little bit, I wish there was a vehicle out there many
Definitely.
days. Yeah,
Definitely.
so I'm just happy, even though this might not be the last full stack, I'm pretty much sure it's not the final stack. Not least because I completely forgot about FTS. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
There's things to do yet, but again, there is still the possibility they may do a static firing ship 28. We just don't know yet. We'll watch it and see. I'm just happy we've got a full stack for a bit at least for a wet dress rehearsal, and they're always very exciting to see. So I'm looking forward to a frosty vehicle.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be awesome. I almost called on Alex, but I'm not going to call on Alex. Ryan, do you agree the stack looks better with the hot staging ring?
Yeah, it took a little bit to grow. I mean, the stack itself looks better. The booster looks weird with just the hot staging ring on. Maybe that's just me. Stack looks better with it.
Trevor?
It's taller. I like tall things, so I'm a big fan.
Okay. Trevor likes tall things. You heard it here first.
I mean,
Alex,
that
I
came out
suppose...
sounding way weirder than I expected.
It did.
But...
It did. It's live forever now on the internet, and you have to live with it. Alex, I suppose I'll let you answer this question. I'll be a little bit magnanimous. Go ahead.
Yes.
The shortest answer from Alex ever.
That was a really good Mr. Burns yes. Good job.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a quality yes. So are they lowering it? It does, because it definitely is not centered on the booster.
They are. They're lowering it, but it's definitely not the clamps, the pin and hook system is definitely not lined up. So
they'll wiggle it and lower it and wiggle it.
Yeah.
That seemed like a pretty darn fast stack, right? So obviously can't say if it beat the previous ones yet because it's not done, but
it did not beat the fastest, but there's others it can beat. So.
But I mean, even approaching the fastest, okay, again, not fully stacked, we can't say that it's approached the quickest yet, but that's pretty impressive to say that this is the first stack of this vehicle. I would imagine that the first stack between 2 vehicles is harder than second, third, fourth, and so on.
If we go by first stacks, the first stack of 25B9 was 75 minutes or so. I couldn't get a time for B7S24. It's really, really hard to find it because you have to find it like right when the ship leaves the stand till when it's set down. But the really funny one was B4S20. It took like 225 minutes or so to do the first ever chopstick stack. So we'll beat that one at least. At least we hope.
And yes, for the record, I think it does look better with the hot stage ring. It's like, it was weird at first, but it grew on me pretty fast in the same way that when a new piece of technology comes out, pretty quickly the older versions look old and busted. Gateway to Mars backwards says, RVAC looks like a kilt. Stop it. Stop it.
No, we're not going to put it on. No.
Thank you. Let's see here. Ultima is asking, we need a t-shirt of ship being held by the chopsticks like the Titanic, or of it being held up by the chopsticks like Lion King.
Yes, Lion King, please.
Lion King.
Careful, Disney loves its lawsuits.
I haven't watched either of those.
Oh my god.
Trevor. Oh my god, Trevor.
Can we just, should we just bring in Alex and just meet Trevor at this point? Like, I mean, what?
No, we're being nice to Trevor. I don't want to get more
Okay.
DMs on Twitter.
Alright.
We don't want any bad blood.
There you go.
Hey, come on, I've had it on Google, Taylor Swift songs, and I've been waiting for every opportunity to find one that worked.
Nice.
It took me 10 minutes.
Good job.
Oh, that's
Good job,
great.
Chris. That's dedication right there.
That's 10 out of 10 quality. That is great.
Flippers79 Flip Diaz, thanks for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. And 1 more Red Team membership, thank you. And Mark Lamb gifting 5. You guys are the best. So many people now get to be members. Pale Horse gifting 10. Thank you, Pale Horse. Charles Gaming is asking, will we make Starship models? I feel like Adrian is gonna like wake up out of his bed just like, oh my god. That's an Adrian and Store Folks question. Yeah, Ryan, you're right. I could literally, we could just call him right now, right on the air, and he would be like, "What is going on?" And we're like, "Adrian, we need a Lion King shirt, and we need it." Just like,
Can we pipe in the phone call into the stream?
honestly,
there you
I'm
Hi,
so
Adrian,
here
you're
for that.
live on NSF's YouTube channel.
I'm so here. I know we won't do it, but I am so here for that. So you can tell when it's lined up just right by that pipe right there that Alex is helpfully pointing out in our back channel. You can see that pipe that descends down the side of the ship. There's 2 of them. And then you can see a corresponding pipe, at least one of them, on the booster right there to the left of the grid fin. So not quite aligned yet, but something to keep your eye on. Rusty Android, thank you for the support. They say kilts. Me, Mr. Jono, thank you for the support. They say better than some of the music. Love and kisses anyway. The music was divisive. Some people really liked it. Some people did not love it.
I had a few messages proclaiming dislike of metal, which I was having to bite my lip over because I love metal. But yeah, it was literally because the reason we do that, it's a new thing. It's not going to be often at all. It was just we were caught out by the fact that we started the stream, we expected a lift, and then hours into it, we couldn't leave people talking for hours. We couldn't stop the stream because we'd run out of the ability to do it. So we thought we'll just leave it running with some music on, and the option was to go to Starbase Live, but there's no music, and it would be just basically like the sounds of Starbase, and it'd be the same views pretty much, so it was just an option, because if we wanted to go live again immediately after started lifting, then we'd have to start a new stream. It'd be a right mess.
Right. Brandon Meyer, thank you for the generous support there. They say, question, I'll be down by the launch facility between February 18th and 24th. Any predictions on if I could drive the hour-ish east to see something happen? Either way, if I do show up, would NSF team members be around to say hi? Yeah, if you ever see one of us out there in the field, definitely say hi. We may be busy, but feel free to say hi. And sometimes, if we remember to bring them, ask me why I use that caveat. If we remember to bring them, you can get a sticker. That's always my deal whenever I'm there. Thanks to DOS providing us with loads of NSF stickers. Find me when we're in Boca. If you find Sean, you may or may not get a sticker. I would say the likelihood is high. So, but yeah, I mean, I would definitely make the drive. Starbase is an amazing place, and it's changing so rapidly that what it looks like today, it will not look like a month or 2 or 6 from now. So it's definitely one of those things where, if you're hyped up about this program and you want to experience what's going on, and you absolutely should if you can. You should go now, if only to have a yardstick with which to measure how crazy the future gets, because it's gonna get crazy. But thank you, Brandon. I hope you have a great trip. We all do, except for Trevor. He's mean.
What?
Yeah.
I hope you have a great trip. Don't let Jack's lies deceive you.
All right, I admit it. I'm sorry, Trevor. Still lining it up. It's like it's moving imperceptibly, but it is moving. Like every time I glance away and glance back, I'm like, oh yeah, that pipe is a little bit closer.
And this process generally takes, a little bit, especially on the first time, just because it turns out aligning these two massive vehicles is not super easy.
Indeed. Michael Tompkins Jr., thank you for the support. They say, how fast do you think they will stack Starship to boosters when everything starts getting to a normal pace? I don't know. Part of me kind of feels like... they're like already approaching the limit of what is practical, because the 30 minutes is fast. I don't know. What do you think, Chris?
I was completely distracted by that back room. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, don't look at the back room right now. Max is sowing chaos. Max, if you're gonna sow chaos, do it in the YouTube chat.
Doesn't Max always sow chaos though?
Yes, it's one of the things he's best at, along with photography and being a nice person.
Yeah, sorry, Jack. Professional face on. What was the question? Is it the question on screen?
Yeah. How fast do you think they will stack starships to boosters when everything starts getting to a normal pace?
That's good. That's a good question. They've got to get... I've mentioned this earlier in the earlier stream. They've got to get the cadence up, and that's not any kind of like Chris thinks. That is literally what's going to happen, because HLS contract requires so many launches of tankers for the refilling task for the HLS Starship for the lunar missions in Artemis. So they have to get up a cadence to show they're capable of achieving that down the road. So I think it's a question. It's a question of how long is a piece of string. It's a question of when. I think this initial year or so is about making it operational, getting to the point where they've got the confidence in the vehicle to be operational, and then they will look to tweak the way they do the processing. We'll see signs of it during this process because of the path to operational, but I think eventually it could be like Elon said. They could literally, potentially I should say, catch the booster, catch the ship, restack and launch the same day. That's one of the claims he made. I think we're a long way off, but we'll start seeing a path towards that evolution. And to be fair, who thought they'd be launching Falcon 9s this much if you go back about 5 years? The cadence, the way they've increased the cadence, that wonderful graphic they put out, SpaceX put out, showing the launches over the years, where it just basically started going up and up and up, and the cadence started just like overriding each other on the graphic. It was something very impressive, and I think that is the future for Starship as well.
I certainly hope so. And yeah, we'll get there. Anybody else want to weigh in on the lift question here as we watch them continue to align things? All right, moving on. Good question, Michael Tompkins. Thank you for the support. Blake Alexander, holy cannoli, gifting 50 Red Team memberships. That's 50
Holy
people.
Jumping.
Wow.
50 people that now get to experience the glory of the membership program, thanks to Blake. Make sure you thank Blake in chat.
By the way, if you're one of those people who just got a Red Team membership, I literally about 30 minutes ago put Mary's photographs up there from earlier today. So there's always content every single day going into the Red Team membership area. A lot of people, Red Team members, especially the ones who are gifted, think, oh, my name is now green, thank you. Oh, no. Red Team and above get content as well every single day. So check out the YouTube membership area and you'll see a lot of content in there. And you can go right back through it. So if you're a new member, you're going to have a right good day of looking through lots of cool stuff. But there's content there as well.
It's just crazy. 50 people. Like, seriously, chat. Thank you, Blake. Thank you, Blake. And also, if you did just get a gifted membership, hey, there's members only emojis, Raptors in chat. I'm gonna get Chris mad at me. I'm gonna get Nightbot mad at everybody. I'm gonna get Chris mad at me. Don't do it too many times, because then you might get muted or whatever.
We're almost aligned here. Getting there.
Yeah, it's weird because I don't, like I said, it's like imperceptible how it's moving. I don't actually see it moving, but it is, because clearly the two pipes are getting closer and closer very slowly.
Yeah, Nightbot's getting angry. I do like to think of Nightbot as some kind of employee at Google headquarters who's literally just reading chat live and just going, nope, not having this, not having that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. In fact, that's why it bums me out when it calls me a swine. Why does Nightbot call me a swine?
Yeah, they go, Chris, what do you do at NSF? Oh, I've done about 500 Nightbot commands. Thank you. You're welcome.
Good stuff. Pink Floyd 01, thank you so much for becoming a Capcom member. That means you get Discord access. Log into Discord and tell me what your favorite Pink Floyd album or track is. That's a really tough call, but I've always been partial to Have a Cigar. That is a really good song. It's lowering. Max in our back channel, for once being useful, saying it's lowering. I'm gonna get DMs saying I'm being too mean to Max. New to this is asking, how many D-stacks before a potential launch? What do we think? We'll go around the horn. Trevor, go first.
I'm gonna guess 3. You know, I suspect there'll be definitely fewer than on the last launch attempt, but still they'll take, you know, several times of making small tweaks to the vehicles.
Ryan?
3 to 4 is what I'll say.
Nice. Chris?
Yeah.
Great.
All right, there you have it. Kiichi is asking, is this flight going to demonstrate the fuel transfer on orbit? Who wants to talk about that? I'm going to make Trevor talk about it.
Yes, so we have had NASA and SpaceX now talk several times about how on IFT-3 they want to conduct a fuel or propellant transfer demonstration on this mission. And no, this doesn't mean that they're going to be doing some very, very rapid turnaround between launches and actually docking 2 ships together and transferring fuel between them that way. All this means is they're going to transfer propellant between the main tanks and the header tanks while they're on orbit. And while this may seem far off from the eventual goals of Starship, and in some sense it is, large-scale propellant transfer like this has never, of cryogenic propellant, has never been done on orbit before. So even though this is significantly smaller in terms of amount of propellant than would be needed on these propellant depot or these refill missions, it would give SpaceX tremendously good data. So what we're expecting them to do is after launch, while they're on orbit, transfer some fuel from the main tanks into the header tanks, and then from there they will conduct a very short quote-unquote deorbit burn with the center Raptor engines. We don't have any super clear details on exactly how this is going to work, but that's what we've been able to piece together purely from the all-hands meeting from SpaceX and also from some NASA slides.
Oh, I was muted. Good stuff. Okay, chat. I see you freaking out that the pipe is not aligned. We are also looking at that. It must
blame me in the back channel.
It's not all the way down yet. I can tell you that right now. They know it's not aligned.
If it's not 100% perfectly aligned when they do set it down, I mean, that's what work on the pad is for, right?
It's what percussive maintenance is for. You take a hammer and align it. There, done.
You joke, but you also know that we have literally seen them do that with Starship hardware.
It wasn't a joke. It was not a joke, Jack. I'm being completely serious. Percussive maintenance is a real thing.
There was one time, it must have been before or around SN5 or 6, where there was a guy at the production site working on a transport stand, and he would like weld it a little bit, hit it with a hammer, weld it a little bit, and at some point the hammer just broke. Like the head of the mallet he was using just like flew off. Pretty great.
That reminds me,
times.
remember there was some footage from the really old days of MK2 of some guy with this enormous sledgehammer who was on top of the forward dome hitting it with the hammer. So then after MK1 exploded, there was an edit made of him hitting the top dome and then the dome flying off.
Thomas
Yeah,
with the...
I don't know if we can get that on stream because of Kilt Cam, but it like, come on, that's amazing.
Oh, I wish we could get that, because that is...
Yeah.
That's so great. Let's see here. Ryan, thank you for the gift of $4.99. They say SpaceX waited for my concert to be over to stack. Nice. Benjamin Bridges, thanks for the support. They say y'all do such an amazing job. Thank you. Mr. Jono, thank you for the support. They say cutout fund. Anthony Mann Wexford, thank you for becoming a PadRat member. Brandon Meyer gifting 5 more Red Team memberships. Thank you, Brandon. Dustin Harris with a $5 super chat saying, would shining the ship up like chrome from cars help with rust, and would it affect the ship at all? Would it help it like radiate heat better or something? Trevor, this sounds like a math question to me.
Shining it up like chrome. No, so it wouldn't help radiate heat better, but what shininess can do is it can help reflect heat in the first place, so it makes it so you don't absorb it at all. But the black body curve is purely a function of temperature, so or almost purely a function of temperature, I think. So yeah, it's possible that it would help a little bit, but I can't imagine it would be a substantial decrease in thermal ability to hold thermal energy.
I do like the idea of a shiny ship, like extra shiny. Just don't try and shine the tiles. That would probably be bad. All right, Chris, it's insane o'clock for you right now, so I think we'll let you go, good buddy. But thank you for jumping on the stream with us as we watch this thing get stacked.
No, my pleasure. Again, for those may have not just come until later into the stream, you can see in the pinned comment there, we are waiting for full stack for a merch release of the IFT3 merch we've got planned. It's just we were planning that during the day and the store team isn't awake, and I do like to reveal new merch and have the support ready in stock for those people purchasing. So we'll hold it back for a little bit longer, not long, and then I'll make sure everyone's alerted on our X feed, which is also linked to top in the pinned comment. You can see how tidy I am. My mouth is completely not working right now, but you get the idea. We're making sure that we release it and everyone's got the support from the store when they do buy stuff, because we like to be good about that thing.
Indeed. Well, once again, thank you, Chris, and we'll let you hop off. Y'all, if you don't follow NASA Spaceflight on Twitter, you should, obviously, because you're watching our YouTube channel. But like, Chris retweets all of the stuff from all of our photographers, plus the news articles, plus, I mean, I gotta say, you're a pretty good Twitter user, Chris. I often chuckle at your replies, so follow Chris.
Yes. You're more than welcome. I'm just reading one from Trevor. Apparently, Taylor Swift has had 4 shows in Tokyo Dome. Thank you, Trevor.
All right.
No,
thanks,
always a
Chris.
pleasure.
Do we have Alex come on now, or do we just let him sit in purgatory? I think we just let him sit in purgatory.
I'm still
Yeah.
here. I mean,
Shoo, Alex. Shame on you.
you're not the most indicated to say that. Just say it.
Jack, can you shame Alex, please?
No, nope, can't do it.
Aww.
I like Alex. I'm here for you shaming him, though. Pale Horse, thank you for gifting Ted Red Team memberships. Rusty Android, thanks for becoming a PadRat member. Gary Greigel, becoming a PadRat member. Jawless J, thank you so much for the support. They say, love watching y'all and teaching my littles about Starship and the positive achievements they may see in their lifetime. Hey, they will see in their lifetime, all right? They will see. I want my flying car, dang it. Seriously, though, thank you, Jawless. That's awesome. We're all glad that people can share our streams with their kids and whatnot. Everybody should be excited about space. I'm just sitting here staring at that pipe. It's so bad.
Jack,
fix the pipe.
It wouldn't surprise me, and I know it wouldn't surprise you even in the slightest. But what if they built it wrong?
I mean, shall we go down the list of hilarious Starbase oopsies? I don't think we'll. Yeah, I don't think we'll burden chat with that right now. But yeah, I mean, this is the first time they're stacking 28 on 10, so it could be that the pipe needs to be tweaked a little bit or moved, or it's not going to align 100% perfectly or what have you. That's why you do this before you're ready to launch, so that you can make sure, obviously, everything is ready on the day. Do we think it's down, Alex? What's your take? What's the Alex take?
The Alex take is that I'm doing A/B testing and they're rotating the ship as we speak. So they're doing alignments, slight adjustments to the position of the ship.
In my head, I never would have thought that the amount of play that is possible to rotate the ship is this much. Like, if those pins are in the ship's sockets, like, I would not have expected it to be wiggleable that much, but I guess there's some margin there.
They have a decent amount of control with the chopsticks and the systems they have on it. Ryan Hansen Space has done a really cool animation on how it works. You'll have to go find that video on his channel. But he did a really cool animation that kind of shows how the whole system works. So, yeah.
It's also that it is such a big vehicle that even slight adjustments make the whole thing move by a lot. Mm-hmm. Because even a small angle, it means a lot, just because of how big it is, and all of the law of triangles and things like that. Trevor knows better probably about all of that because it's maths, but yeah, it's just all geometry. The larger it is, even just a small deviation, a small angle of deviation, it just becomes a large movement.
You said angle of deviation, and now all I can think about is the missile. The Starship knows where it is because it knows where it isn't.
I mean, but you can think about it. I mean, if you want another example of it, like if you have something very far away, right, and you sort of try to trace an angle of how it moves, it doesn't really need to move too far away on your field of view in terms of how the angle between the two locations, if it's moving in front of you. If it's too far away, it may be moving very fast, but to you it just looks like it's moving very slowly because, again, it's very far away, and it's because of that distance in between, so that size in between you and the object. Same rule applies for this. It's just all trigonometry and geometry and all that stuff.
Indeed.
Yeah, they're still adjusting that thing.
Yeah. Now, one thing will definitely
someone is asking me, why is your name Alex Physics? Well, I'm Alex. I studied physics, and that's the reason.
Well, I was going to say one.
By that metric, it should be Ryan Airplane and Trevor Math.
Yeah.
And Jack Photography.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll allow it.
One way we'll know it's fully set down is you'll see the booster do a wobble, usually. And that's the entire stack basically settling inside the 20 hold down clamps at the OLM, and that's a good sign that it's down and it's centered and it's not going to go anywhere after that. It's usually the good thing is, yeah. It looks scary, but it's normal.
Normal even.
Normal, yes, exactly.
Philip, thanks for becoming a pad rat. Pale Horse gifting 10 Red Team memberships. Thank you for that, Pale Horse. Thad becoming a pad rat member, and Raven Rose becoming a Capcom member. Awesome. I always say it just so people know. If you're a Capcom and above, you have Discord access. Jump into Discord and say hey. Ooh, do we have Alex art? Yes, thank you, Alex. Suboptimal. Do you have an app that you specifically use for the arrows and everything?
Yeah, it's called MS Paint.
Nice.
Thank you.
Good work.
Alex Art.
Aichi is asking, can we explain the mating mechanism of this launch vehicle? Who wants this one? First one to talk gets it.
Sure, I'll take this one. So, these two vehicles are held in... Alex in the... Dang it, Alex. These two vehicles are held in by 3 clamps, or clamps in quotations. Basically, there's a hook and pin system. So the hook is on the booster, or should I say the hot staging ring, and there's a pin on the ship side. When the vehicle comes down, the hook is pneumatically, I think if I remember correctly, it's pneumatic. The hook basically that goes in, hooks onto the pin, and there's 3 of them that hold the ship to the booster. It may not seem like it's a lot, but if we all remember from Flight 1, the entire stack did a tumble in the air and it didn't rip apart, so they're engineered pretty well, you know.
I don't think it, like the technical term, I don't think is tumble. I think it's it did a kerbal.
It did a kerbal. Copy. That's a technical term.
Yeah. Space Lover is asking, if no tiles fall off, what are the chances of Ship 28 making it through re-entry? I think a corollary question are, what are the chances of no tiles falling off? Which I think the answer is 0. But in that impossible situation, what do we think about Starship re-entry? Trevor, I'll let you go first, because you're awesome.
Now you're just being too nice. I honestly, it's so hard to say. My gut feeling is that with the full heat shield, it would do pretty good and probably make it all the way through re-entry. You know, these tiles have all been tested on Dragon, and the flaps and the entire structural integrity of the vehicle seems to be extraordinarily strong. So I think as long as there would be no large areas of heat flux, it would not be a problem, and the tiles seem to do pretty good, and the steel seems to be pretty good at handling thermal energy anyway. So I would feel pretty good about it being able to survive re-entry. But then the question goes into the more realistic situation of, if you lose a few tiles, can you still make it through re-entry? And you know, the obvious question is then, well, where do you lose the tiles from? Because on some locations it would be significantly less bad than on other locations. And where those really key locations are is probably something that SpaceX will learn on the first flight. But we can probably make good guesses that any place on the vehicle where you see a sharp line, that would have a large heat flux, and they would really need tiles over that. But in some senses that's kind of ideal, because we've seen the tiles stay on the flaps very well. I don't think, you know, any tiles were lost on the flap regions on the previous 2 flights. So I guess the TLDR is, that's what SpaceX wants to find out on this flight.
Makes sense. That was a great answer, Trevor. You did great.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Be careful what you wish for. Ryan, what do you think?
Can you be mean to me again?
I think even if some tiles fall off, I still think Ship 28 will survive. Well, I guess it depends on where the tiles fall off. If they only fall off like the fuselage, like the tank section of it, I think it'll be fine. If they come off around the flat fairings or the flap seal, then I think we're gonna have problems at that point. Then the hot gases get in there, rip the flaps off, and then, well, the ship starts tumbling and rips apart and burns up. That's probably what happened if that happens. But if it's only on the main tank section, I think it'll be fine.
Alex? Physics?
With me?
You.
Oh boy.
I know you love these questions.
Hate you. People DM him saying that he's bullying me.
Oh my god.
Send Jack DMs on Twitter saying you're
yeah.
bullying Alex.
Are you getting revenge for me telling people to
Yes.
DM
Yes.
Adrian Spiders,
Do
which
that.
everybody should do, by
Do
the way?
No, not do that. Please,
do that.
Adrian. If you do that, Adrian doesn't release the patch. There you go. I'm defending him.
It's like multiple layers of holding things hostage at this point.
But going back to the question, I think it's gonna be hard to see a reentry working on the first try, because this is, I mean, let's be fair. There's a good chance that this thing actually reaches that suborbital orbital trajectory, right? Almost orbital, and so it is most likely gonna go to the point of actually reentering, in a planned manner and in one piece. Now, the problem is whether it actually goes through that reentry in one piece or not. And I think there's a good chance that it survives the first few minutes, that they can gather a lot of data. But as I explained in the previous stream when we were live earlier this morning, usually the way that heating goes with reentries is that the peak heating is actually towards the end of the reentry, right? So you could probably get very far down and a lot of data on the reentry portion, and maybe towards the end, once you get all the peak heating, because again, the reason behind that is that it's taking time for the vehicle to get all of the heat, all of the temperature up, and so that's why it's towards the end. And they could still gather a lot of data. I think there's a good chance that they go through a good chunk of the reentry, even if it doesn't go through entirely. So I'm optimistic, at least in that sense. But it will be hard if it actually goes through entirely. There's also the question of the flaps, whether they're going to be properly sealed and properly working through reentry. That's a whole another can of worms, and so that's why I'm skeptical it may work on the first try. But hey, Ship 28, prove me wrong. I dare you.
You're daring Ship 28 to prove you wrong.
Yeah, why not? He doesn't understand me, but I do.
That's what you think. What if it has some kind of
He
Tesla
doesn't understand me, but I do.
They threw an Artemis robot in there with it.
I was trying to make a Simpsons reference. Come on, you didn't
Oh, I missed. Oh, I blew it.
Lurking.
Yeah,
Lurking, whatever.
I
Anyways,
blew it. I'm sorry, Alex.
Yeah.
I'm terrible. Rick,
I mean-
thank you for grabbing some stuff from the store. They say stocking up again before the new patch. Thanks so much to NSF for bringing space to the masses. Holy cow, what did Rick bought? Like a million things. You got stickers. They really are stocking up. Thank you, Rick. That was like 10 messages. Nice.
I think you're excused, Jack, because, I mean, we've been all waiting for this thing all day long, and we're all tired. So I think you're excused for missing that.
Good. All right. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
Yeah, Jack and I have been up since like 6 today, waiting for this silly thing to stack.
Not a bad way to spend a Saturday.
No, definitely not.
Staring at tanks with 5,000 of your best friends.
OG
And also Trevor, I guess.
Thank you, Jack.
You said be mean.
Yes.
He requested it. So what do we think? Do we think there's Alex? Do you think they're still moving it? I don't think I've seen it get any closer to being aligned with that pipe. Is it down? Where are we at? It looks down. I think it's down, but I'll defer to you.
Well, I think at one point we made sort of a distinction of between being down and aligned, right? It's down, but it doesn't fully look aligned. I mean,
It's not yet.
there's the other possibility. Hang on, because there's the other possibility that they may just not care if they're gonna do like some kind of propellant load test or whatever. If you think
There's
about
that.
it, like they may not need it at all. So I don't know, but or maybe they'll just adjust it later. Maybe they're taking their time figuring out the way to go now, but who knows?
What I really
I
want
wish
to see.
we had the way to actually see in the control room or something. That
Right.
guy maybe with a joystick or something.
All right,
Oh my
hear me
god,
out.
it's on our line. It's on our line.
Hear me out. Hear me out. We get a cat somehow, and then we surgically implant on the cat equipment to spy, and then we release the cat around the control center. So someone's like, "Oh, cute stray cat," and then they bring it in the control center, and then, bam, we're good. Live camera in the control center.
What? That's seemed a little dark there, Jack. Just a little
Well,
bit.
the CIA did it. Look up
Jack, is
acoustic
that
kitty.
what you think Leica is?
Just because the CIA does it doesn't mean we have to do it. That's the CIA. Oh man.
I wish we had a soundboard. It'd be like, FBI, open up, like the boom, boom, boom. Do the- Trevor, to answer your question, I have actually not put a GoPro on Leica yet, but it's like only a matter of time.
Why don't you get Leica some of the Meta Ray-Ban glasses things?
I mean, hey, live stream from a dog would be pretty sweet. I could
would be
put my
sweet.
Meta whatever hubbity blubs on her. But I'm sure she would eat them. She eats everything. She's not really a dog as much as she is like a giant mouth of teeth with some legs that happen to be attached.
No,
She's a
and
vacuum
ears.
cleaner
And
with
ears.
legs and mouth.
So,
Yeah.
Jay saying member stream, I guess, to put a GoPro on.
I would do it. That'd be cool. Dog cam at Starbase.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Yan Yasso is asking, have they switched to Raptor engine version 3 yet?
No.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Trevor. Would you care to elaborate, Trevor?
Sure. So, I always have to preface this question with there are many confusing Raptor naming schemes that people, including Elon, seem to use unofficially at times. And so when Elon tweeted Raptor V3 was on the test stand, we think he means that this was Raptor 2 Block 3 or like Block 4 or something like that, not actually Raptor V3. So if you mean that have they switched to Raptor V3, we have not seen any indication that that engine is in development. If you're asking about Raptor 3 Block 4, which is what Elon called V3 on his Twitter,
2 Block 3?
it's Block 3 or Block 4, depending on how you count it.
You said Raptor 3. You meant Raptor 2. Go on.
Raptor 2 Block 3. Then there's, again, we don't have a super good idea. We just have the one tweet from Elon, which I believe was in September, about how it achieved, I believe, 350 bar chamber pressure, which then had some bonkers amount of thrust for a single engine. And since that tweet, we have heard absolutely nothing about the engine. And the little bit that Elon has tweeted about Starship since has not said anything about when this engine is going to come into operation at Starbase. So my guess is it's probably a little bit out still. Raptor 2 seems to be pretty reliable and may as well use all of the Raptor 2, earlier blocks that they have built. But the naming scheme is so confusing.
As is tradition.
SpaceX they're good at many things. I do not think naming is one of their strengths.
Definitely not.
It's Starship, which is made up of a starship and a booster. But the whole thing is called Starship. And that car is driving away rapidly.
Car-based drifting.
Car base, more like it. Am I right?
Car-based. Star car.
I was just about to do that. Why, Alex? Why are you the way you are? Why am I the way I am?
We have the same rotten brain.
We do. We do. Carl is asking total weight of booster and ship in tons. Alex, go.
Oh, wait. Well, that's about 5,000 tons fully fueled.
What about
dry mass? It should be around 300 and something like 320, 350 should be more or less. Because the booster is about 200 and something. It's not fully clear what's it fully dry mass, but it's probably upwards of 200. And then the ship is also around 120 tons dry. Go ahead, Ryan.
Because we know, like with ship booster, we know that they can lift an engineless booster with a single bridge crane inside the mega bay. Those cranes are rated for 180 tons. So that means that the booster is should be a little bit lower than that. And then you add the 60, 70 tons of the engines, shielding, and the hot stage ring to it, and you get around 240, give or take. So yeah, it's about for booster, and I think ship is like 120, 140. It's hard to know with ship these days.
It's also a little hard of what do you define as the mass of the booster and the mass of the ship? Because if you talk about dry mass, do you include the weight of, or the mass of the air in it, which is not trivial for a vehicle this big in the slightest? Do you include the mass of propellant residuals that you just can't burn? So those numbers aren't huge, but it still adds a question mark to what are you even defining?
That's so weird to think if you somehow could put the interior of the tanks in a vacuum without crumpling the ship or booster, that it would weigh less. But yeah, I guess that makes sense.
One of the things
There's a lot of air in those silly things. 9 meters diameter times 120 or so tall.
Trevor, figure out the weight. Do the math. You're Mr. Math. I give you permission to not talk for 5 minutes while you do the math and figure out what the weight of the air.
I don't even. What is the density of air? That's actually.
I don't know. You're Mr. Math. Figure it out, bud. I believe in you.
One in the units of density of air.
It is. It's about 1.14 kilograms per meter cubed.
All right, go. Do your math.
Mm-hmm.
Alex, were you going to say something before I interrupted you?
It's okay. I was going to point out.
Did I say squared?
You said cube.
No, you said meter cube.
What are you
cubic
correcting
meters? Because it should be cubic meters.
That's the same thing.
No. I'm a Spaniard. I shouldn't know about this, and yet I know. Anyways, where was I? Yeah. The interesting fact about the booster mass is that a third of it is just the engines. Probably more than a third, actually, if you think about it. But whenever they lift the booster, so the Mega Bay cranes are basically rated for 180 tons of mass to be lifted. And so whenever they are putting the booster without the engines on the work stand, they only use one crane. But when they have to remove it after they have installed the engines and all of the other systems, because they take that time to also install other systems, they need to use the 2 cranes on the mega bay in order to be able to do that, because it gets so much mass with all of those Raptors that it's just it goes way beyond the rated mass for the crane. And so we have a very rough and old number about the mass of a Raptor, which is I think about 1.5 tons, maybe a little bit more, to be fair. And so if you do the math, that's like 50 tons or something like that with 33 Raptor engines, plus the shielding, plus a lot of the plumbing, plus there's so many things in that engine section. It's like 50 tons or more in terms of mass, which is about a third of the whole vehicle, or even more, depending on how you count
And they're gonna have
the
to
ratios.
add to it too. They're gonna have to add mass to that engine section going down the line, because they have to add the entire they have to add the engine chill offload basically system to the inner 13 engines, to the engine section, which will add, I don't know if it'll add that much, but it'll still add more weight to it.
So, just quick back of the napkin calculations suggest that the mass of air in both vehicles is on the order of 5 to 10 tons. So, it's pretty substantial.
Wait, how much?
5 to 10 tons, somewhere in there.
That's wild. Thank you for doing the math, Trevor. Good job. Mr. Why do we always have such a problem with like saying this name? Me, Mr. Jono, thank you for the support. They say American English is my first language, but do ships, etc., have feminine and masculine names? They don't have any official names.
In English, you like unofficially refer to ships more with feminine pronouns, but I think that's like rightfully dying out. Nouns having gender is so dumb.
It's good that Chris B is not on, because I know he is a fan of tradition in that way. But I'm with you, Trevor. I'm just like, it's a ship.
I call it it.
Yeah. Good question though. Super Marsh 22, thank you for the support. They say thoughts on the overall surface area of the Starship heat shield, or how the overall surface area of the Starship heat shield will impact its ability to dissipate the re-entry energy. This will be by far the largest surface area at re-entry by a lot. Who has thoughts?
It's Destin. He's one of our members.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thought for sure. It definitely seems like having a larger area will allow for lower peak heating on each individual tile, since the amount of energy that you have is roughly the same, since it's primarily at this velocity, at the speed that re-entry occurs at. Velocity adds way more to your energy than mass does. So velocity is about the same, but your mass is, say 2 or 3 times as much. But so you may have like 2 or 3 times as much energy, not like way more than that. But your surface area will be huge. Yeah, it's an interesting point. I really do wonder what SpaceX's expectation is of how the heat shield will be able to dissipate the energy. And I imagine that you kind of have to design the heat shield for the hottest little corner of the heat shield, and the rest of it will just be well under the thermal limits of those tiles.
Neat.
We're almost there. Oh, ship goes back up.
It's going back up. Look at that. And not even a little. I mean, it's not a lot, but
I think they're bringing it back up just to rotate it a tad bit more.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
I feel like we need some kind of voice saying, "Please mind the gap between booster and ship."
Do not stick your hand in between the booster and ship. Please stand back from the railing. Stand back from the grid fins.
There is no parking in the red zone.
Will the owner of a blue telehandler please? Interesting. So yeah, maybe they needed to get it a little bit better aligned, and so that's what's going on here. Neat. Lachlan Boyd is asking, do we think one day we might see a static fire with a hot staging ring under the ship? I don't think so. Alex, go.
Hang on, what again?
Read the ticker, Alex.
With a hot staging? Nah, it's not needed, and besides, it worked. Like, that could have been a really good question before Flight 2, but now we've seen it work. It works. So, no need to.
Are you saying it's a bad question? That's not nice, Alex.
No. Hold on. I say it is not a bad question. I said it will have been even better to ask that before, because now we've seen it. Now we've seen it works. But I also will have said, if it was actually before Flight 2, I will have said something along the lines of, well, you know, when the staging occurs, the conditions at altitude are not the same as the conditions at sea level, because at sea level you have the atmosphere trying to pressuring the exhaust of the Raptors, and so what you see is sort of like a jet-like kind of exhaust, which is what you see, for example, when the Flight 2 lifted off. You could see all of the Raptor exhaust actually converging and creating those mega Mach diamonds in the plume. But as the whole thing lifted off, the plume expands because the pressure decreases and the exhaust can just go out in all directions and it expands. And so at the altitudes of the hot staging, the way that the plume is shaped and how it affects the impinging, basically how it impinges on the booster on the hot staging ring is different. And so if you were to test it here on Earth, the conditions would not be the same. So the only way to actually test it for real is putting the ship up there and putting a hot staging ring below it. And the way to do that is Flight 2. We saw it happening right there. It was amazing, I gotta say. And I really wish those WB-57 videos will have gone all the way through hot staging. But anyways, we'll have to be okay with just the ground pictures and ground video. But yeah. Whatever.
I want to point out right now, looking at the screen, we've seen now that they raised the ship a little bit. They've done some alignment. Now it looks like they've maybe overshot just by a little bit. So this is just the slow process that we were alluding to at the start of the stream, for them to get the alignment of this vehicle correct.
What is
I was watching it and I was like, oh cool, it's getting nice and lined up now. And then I was like, no, stop. Like, what?
No!
Too far. Explosion 1000 is asking, is it possible that on IFT-2 the force of the ship explosion pushed at least some debris into orbit? Trevor, math us why that's not possible.
Yeah, so I think it ended up being, oh boy, I'd have to go back and look at the numbers, but around 1,000 kilometers per hour short. And after the explosion, all of the pieces of debris were super small, so even at that altitude, they're going to have a large amount of drag. So, yeah, almost certainly not.
Thank you for the math, Trevor. Stephen Cobb asking, does Ship 28 have RCS thrusters for in-orbit orientation and maneuverability? Kinda? Ryan, explain.
Yeah, it does have RCS thrusters for maneuverability and whatnot. There are roll thrusters on the side of the ships near the common dome, if I remember correctly. I gotta remember exactly all the positions of them. There are thrusters at the nose. You can see there's a pair of cowbells up there. Those are actually new on this vehicle, which can help Those can help be like pitching thrusters, as well as help be like an ullage thruster if they need one. The tank vents themselves can act as RCS thrusters as well, so they can do roll, pitch, and yaw with with tank vents and or RCS thrusters that are on this vehicle. Yeah.
Wait, do they have like an actual RCS system, or is it all vents?
They actually have roll thrusters, and then they have a separate, if I remember correctly, it's a separate LOX tank vent. And they only have one LOX tank vent on this one. I think 25 had 2. This one's down to 1. So, yeah, they've taken. It's kind of funny. They've taken vents off of ship, and they've added vents to the booster, as in a progression. It's kind of weird. So.
They're like, oh, what went wrong with Flight 2? Oh, I got it. There's too many holes on this one and not enough holes on that one. Flight 3, we're good. And the FAA is like, excuse me? Mail is asking, oh god, this is so cursed. Mail says, I heard a rumor from someone that the booster will have 3 grid fins to reduce drag. Is this reasonable?
Yes.
First off, stop. Like, do not manifest this into the universe.
Please no. No.
Also, what is your definition of reasonable? Would 3 grid fins reduce drag? Yes. Would it be in any way describable as reasonable? I think not. Trevor, explain.
This is literally something that Elon was talking about, where they found that they have plenty of roll control, if I remember correctly, so they really just need it for
pitch and yaw.
Yeah, pitch and yaw. And he was saying in an interview with Tim, if I remember correctly, that a future booster iteration, they're planning on having 3 large grid fins and then a really small 4th one or something like that to help reduce mass on the vehicle. So unfortunately that is reasonable and very possible that we will see it at some point, and I don't know if my eyes are looking forward to that day.
There comes a point where efficiency and mass optimization just make your vehicle look bad, and you just need to not do it for the sake of everyone who likes aesthetically pleasing vehicles. Please just stop. So, signed, sincerely, everyone. You know, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Alex, what do you think?
Oh, I didn't think you will throw these to me, but I mean, we'll see what happens. I hate these questions. You know me. No, again, not that they are asked, but having to answer them. Because I'm horrible to answer these questions because I don't really know, to be fair. And it's okay not knowing things, because then you get surprised and you get to know things. I really like it when I get to know things. Let's be fair. I'm being totally honest here.
Wow, breaking news. Alex likes knowing things.
I like the thrill of discovering things. Like,
yeah.
When we had the first pictures of Pluto by New Horizons, that kind of thrill of, wow, look at that. We haven't seen that before. So, maybe not the same thrill if it were a 3 grid fin booster, but hey, you know, let's just wait and see. It could be possible, but again, we'll just have to wait.
Just like we have to wait on this ship to get put back down on the booster. Those pipes are pretty close. At least closer than they were.
I just saw you're me.
Oh yeah, no, that's
your control.
Yeah, I could not think about the Simpsons like model rocket, dude. Yaw control. Like that was the whole time. In fact, that's why I took so long to start talking again. Is because I was frantically Googling that image. Busted. I knew you would appreciate it. There's a Simpsons reference for literally every conversation. Grant, thank you for the 10 Australian dollar dues. They say, as a pastry chef, I have been a longtime fan of your ability to help me understand concepts in rocket science. Thank you. Thank you, Grant. May all your pastry chefing go great. Mr. Jono, again, thank you for the support. They say 5 quid for the good ship NSF. May she sail to glory along with all wildlife. Also, great quality output daily. Thank you so much. Windman 14 May, thank you for the support. They say, have the chopsticks reached their rotation limit? I don't think so. And Pale Horse upgrading to a red team member. Thank you, Pale Horse. What'd you say, Ryan?
Said rotation limit, like how much they can rotate the ship using the pins. I'm kind of curious as to what they mean.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, but I don't know because then they're within the bounds of what they've already done with it, right? Like
when you hear a cracking sound, that's when you hit the limit.
Yeah, you don't. Chopsticks only do that when they're very happy.
Snap.
Let's see here. Zdolsi Seb is asking, how will they manage to transfer liquid fuel in zero gravity or inject fuel into the Raptors? That's what ullage thrusters are for, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor, explain ullage thrusters.
Yeah, so when you're in an inertial frame, you have this pretty annoying thing where your fuel
Wait. I'm really smart, and I totally know what you mean by inertial frame. But for people who might not know, I mean, I totally know, but like, break it down a little bit more.
An inertial frame of reference is just a frame of reference that is not undergoing any acceleration. What's that, Alex?
Break it down more.
No. When there's no acceleration on an object, we can say it that way. So when you're in space, you're in this beautiful inertial frame of reference where the propellant and the ship itself all have the identical acceleration happening to them. So from the reference frame of the ship, the propellant is completely at rest in it. So that means that it's able to just kind of float around a little bit. And what's really bad is your propellant not being anywhere near the injectors or the fuel pumps for your engine. Because if you attempt to start an engine when you would just be sucking in vacuum or air bubbles or some gas or whatever, you would cause the engine to have a hard start and it would almost certainly rud. So instead what SpaceX has is these things, as Jack called them, ullage thrusters, which are basically just using some high pressure tank, releasing some of that pressure to cause an acceleration on the vehicle, which then causes a fictitious force on the propellant, forcing it to the bottom of the tank. And then once it's at the bottom of the tank, you can successfully... I did not hear that.
There was a loud rumble. I think it's down, and the pipe looks aligned.
Good. Yeah, that looks really good.
A loud rumble would probably be it settling.
Nice.
I don't see a full wobble yet.
Nice. That was a really cool sound.
So yeah, the ullage thrusters just make sure that the propellant is at the bottom of the tank, so then you're able to, say, transfer propellant or start your engine or whatnot. So if you look at, even Falcon 9, for example, you'll generally see before they conduct a firing, so before they ignite the MVAC engine, there are 2 thrusters, if I remember correctly, that burn for a couple of seconds.
Yeah, I saw the whole thing move.
It's also true that Falcon's first stage does it as well, actually.
You saw it wiggle, Alex?
Yeah. I went back, and when it does the thud, it wiggled. Maybe we can pull. Maybe we can pull that, Jay. I mean, I can also pull it myself.
Do it.
I'm talking about that, but I can pull it myself. Haha, I have the power.
If that is down, which usually the thud and the wiggle is the down, that was 1 hour and 2 minutes with all the alignment.
That's not too bad. Awesome. So now we got to see the QD arm go in. Oh, look, a drone. Very cool. Jonathan O, thank you for the support. They say, great job, guys. You make me smarter. And Drew Nar said, it's set down hard at 125.30. Thank you for the support. That was a cool bang sound. Sorry for interrupting you, Trevor.
Nah, all good.
Pioneer's asking, does this heat shield... Sorry, the question kind of broke my brain. Does this heat shield can withstand a high orbit or lunar re-entry? It will happen at some point for Deer Moon, for example. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, this heat shield is spec'd to survive even a re-entry coming back from Mars, which is no joke. Right, Ryan?
Yeah, it'll be fine. I mean, I don't know why they would design it this way and it wouldn't work. That'd be a serious design flaw, especially considering Starship is, supposed to go to Mars. It'd be a little worrying if it couldn't handle that.
Should have called it Mars Ship.
I mean, yeah. Maybe.
Mars Colonial Transporter.
There you go.
Oh,
MCT.
God. They somehow found a worse name. Oh, man. Interplanetary Transport System?
No. The big Falcon rocket.
Yeah, I'm kind of partial to that one. More questions. I'm looking for questions. Y'all, if you have any, ask away. Oh my god, is this right? Dork Vader says the original ITS renders had 3 grid fins. Is that true?
Yes, it is true.
Three
They were
really
also
large.
diamond shape. Like, I remember even the Starship, the Starship renders, like even in 2019 or even 2020, still had the grid fins are diamond shaped. But it was like, yeah, no, we're not seeing them making diamond shaped grid fins. Those will have been cool, but I like the square ones. They're like waffles.
Thanks, now I want waffles.
Waffles are just dry pancakes. I don't know why anyone would eat a waffle over a pancake.
I mean, because waffle has like the syrup traps.
But a pancake will just absorb it.
Yeah, then it gets all soggy. Like, waffle lasts longer under duress of syrup.
I don't know. I'm a pancake guy.
Alright.
Can we get
You're
a
on
poll in
record?
chat, Jack, of pancakes versus waffles?
Oh, it's happening. Somebody talk about something. Here we go. Nub340 is asking, when will we see 2 starships dock and transfer fuel between them? Ready, go, Alex. I know you love the date question.
When you said here we go, it was like it's going to me.
Do it.
When will we see 2 starships dock and transfer fuel between them?
Do you even
I'm
listen to me,
gonna
Alex? Do we just tune out my voice completely?
Yes, I listened to you. I just wanted to read again the question. Because I like to prepare my questions. And my answer is...
You're just stalling. You're just stalling.
Remember when Alex
Yeah,
said he
actually-
wasn't gonna talk?
I actually have. No, look, it's Jack throwing me questions. Okay, it's not me. It's Jack. I actually have the answer. So, what I think is, I think 2025 is going to be the year that we're going to see two starships dock together and transferring fuel. Whether it goes well or not, that's a whole different thing. It's really complicated. Not the docking itself, although for Starship it will be a first, so it may be a bit more complicated. But the transfer of fuel, it's a really complicated maneuver. I wonder, if someone could explain how complicated it is and trying to put it in perspective, that would be amazing. Like it's a really complicated thing. They've been trying to do that even on a small scale. It hasn't worked. So that's a lot because it's cryogenic propellant, right? Progress does transferring of propellant, hypergolic propellant all the time on the ISS, but cryogenic propellant is another whole different can of worms. But yeah.
Hey Jack, I have a confession to make.
Oh no.
I may have just made fun of them, but I'm now craving waffles.
There you go.
That's what you get.
So, Trevor, I have a question for you. Do you like Shake It Off?
That is probably one of my least favorite Taylor songs.
Well, I think Starship actually Shake It Off. Shake It Off, I guess. Jay, I think you have the clip, right? He said he had the clip. Here we go.
Also, it's Shake It Off Taylor's version now.
Let's see.
All right, we're watching the replay for the wobble. Texas Wobble Watchers, am I right?
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
Watchers.
What did you do, Alex? Pull like 5 minutes before the wobble?
No, it's
Oh,
just
there it is.
pulling. There we go.
There's a little wobble.
I don't see it.
It's very subtle. I could pull one that is like 10 laps. That may be better. But yeah, that's
don't see
the
it.
pull system. Blame Jay. He's been working on the pull system.
I would never blame Jay. Jay's amazing.
That is true. Jay is amazing.
I think he started it over. I'm looking for it. Tell me when you see it again, because I see nothing.
I see
What?
it. You don't see it because you gotta go back and forth.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I see the wobble.
You can see
I-
it's a very slight wobble where the weight of the ship gets fully pushed onto the booster.
You know the way that it actually is seen better? Instead of looking at the gap, look at the QD umbilical on the right. Not on the live view. I mean, you can watch on the live view too if you want to. But if you want to notice the wiggle, look at that, because then you can see the difference between where the booster and the ship are located and the position of the QD.
When Jay restarts the clip, I can see that it's moved,
See?
but I can't see the actual wobble action. I want to see a wobble. Okay, I'm looking at the QD.
Wait
I
for
think
it.
I see it, but I may
There.
just be imagining it now.
You guys you're pulling my leg. You have to be.
No, no,
No,
we're
we're not pulling your leg.
Am I blind?
I mean, it would be
Yes.
better pulling your leg if you
Yes.
wore a kilt, for example, but because it's easier.
I'm just gonna ignore that.
Jack, when you get older, your eyes just get worse.
That's true.
Trevor, I have 20/20. I'll have you know.
It's better than mine, ironically.
I mean,
All right,
Someone
well-
said, I think Alex is waffling.
Nice.
it's
that's-
there.
that's a
I
good one.
tell you, it's there.
All right, I'll take your word for it. We heard it though. We heard the sound. We saw it. I didn't see it, but you guys saw it. Neat. So yeah, next thing would be to attach the ship QD. But who knows? That could happen in 5 minutes. That could happen in 5 hours. Really hard to say how that will go. But yeah. Michael Moorhead, thanks for the support. They say, do Raptors have the protective covering on them at this point? Are they talking about the booties? The booster booties? I don't know. I assume they're still on there, but maybe they've started taking them off already. Davey, thank you for the support. They say, how will HLS be able to maintain cryogenic propellant long term? And how many landings will it be capable of before needing to be refueled? Oh, geez. Who wants to take this one?
SpaceX doesn't know, and SpaceX doesn't know.
I mean, yeah, this is really the answer.
Yeah.
Cool. I think we'll do one more question. Astro Knucklehead is asking, we've been looking at that pipe as an alignment indicator. What the heck does the pipe connection deliver? I don't think we went over that. Alex?
Oh.
Well, it doesn't really deliver, or I mean, I guess it does deliver. So what it does is just basically dumps the residuals from the liquid oxygen that is used to basically chill down the liquid oxygen side of the Raptor engines. So the Raptor engines need to be chilled down before flight, and in the case of Raptor, it uses both the fuel and the oxidizer are cryogenic, so they need to chill down with methane on the methane side, but that is recaptured, so in order to not have to dump it over, things like that. And in the case of the oxygen, though, it's okay if you dump it over, because it's not like a greenhouse gas or anything like it. It's in the air, right? It is potentially a fire hazard, so I'm thinking that the reason why they installed those pipes, which they have been there since ship 24, is probably because that way they don't have to dump it inside of the engine bay, but rather outside. And then there's like an extension on the booster itself to that pipe, and so when they connect the ship with the booster, the engine chill pipe gets extended further down on the vehicle. I'm assuming to again keep it as far away as possible from the ship, especially now that it's doing hot staging. That's probably not good, I guess.
Oh, Need Pizza sent me a GIF of the wobble. I see the wobble. Wobble confirmed.
Yep.
All right, cool. I think with that, we should wrap things up. Thank you guys for hanging out on today's streams, as we had multiple today. We hope you enjoyed the music. We hope you enjoyed the commentary. Thank you, Need Pizza, for sending that GIF along so I could see the wobble before we wrapped. Super appreciate everybody buying the memberships and gifting the memberships, getting the merch, doing all that stuff, coming out and supporting what we do. It's absolutely amazing of y'all. Speaking of Paul Carl, thank you for the support. They say, how come they can't use a plunger method of pushing fuel? I think the best part is no part, and a plunger would be an additional part. That's what I'm going to go with. But thank you so much for the super chat there. Oh, goodness. Well, we had Chris B on earlier. Thank you to him for being on. Once again, if you're not following NASA Spaceflight on the socials, I don't know what you're doing. Why are you here? If you are lost and you're here and you like what you got, then at NASA Spaceflight on Twitter and all the other social. So yeah, thank you to Chris. Alex, thank you for barging your way into the stream, or perhaps shipping your way into the stream. I don't know.
Boating.
Thanks for boating on in here for ship talk.
Yeah, it's been a barge. Pun token. There you go. Thanks, Jay. Yeah, it's always a pleasure. I'm always around anyway, so I was like, okay, whatever. I'll barge in, because it's fun.
Good deal. Well, thank you for it. There's Alex's info on screen. Follow him on all the socials. Also, Ryan, thank you for being on stream.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Fun as always. Finally see Flight 3 stacked. Can't wait for the testing to start.
For real. There's Ryan's info up in the top right corner. Follow Ryan on the socials. Trevor, thank you for being on, buddy.
No, thank you. It's great to see that we finally have a full stack, and as Chris talked about at the start, make sure you pay attention to our socials for when we announce when the IFT3 mission patch merch will be coming, because you may want to get it. It's really, really cool.
Oh no, I'm absolutely, like, you are going to want to get it. I've seen the patch. It's amazing. It's coming soon. Holy cow. like, it's so good. It's so good. I'm so excited. It blows patch 1 and 2 out of the water. Cool. Thank you, Trevor. What's your review of Kinder Jack?
I prefer Rude Jack.
All right, you heard it here first. All in good fun. Also, had Jay operating the stream. No! Stop that. Stop it. Stop it. I was just about to praise you, Jay. We had Jay operating the stream. Jay can throw his info up in the top
one
right.
last time. He had to get it in one last time.
We're very professional here, and we're ending things on a professional note. Come on, keep it together. We have rails here. Thank you, Jay, for operating the stream and being around all the time. And, of course, I'm Jack. I'm not going to wear a kilt. Follow me on the socials, yada yada, you get it. Thank you guys for watching. We have a stacked ship! Hooray! One step closer to IFT 3. So yeah, let's all go hang out at Starbase Live and adore this magnificent vehicle. And hopefully we get some testing here soon. But until then, Starbase Live exists, and we'll see you there. Bye!
And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up.
Tango down to nominal.
Flighting down to IFT off. FT off. It's orange! 125! Oh my god! Decollage! What do you think? Put that in the big bag,
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
The methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You read? Sure. We don't need any more of these.